Good morning friends, welcome back to Parnika tutorials. In the last few videos, I have discussed about one-dimensional array in detail. I hope you have watched those videos. If you did not watch those videos or if you don't know what is a one-dimensional array, how to write a programs related to one-dimensional array, I request you to go back and watch those videos and come back to this video. In this video, I want to discuss about two-dimensional array in detail. So I request everyone to watch the complete video. Now let me discuss about a two-dimensional array, the declaration and how it is different from one-dimensional array, and then I will discuss about the how to initialize the elements in the two-dimensional array. Now when we are discussing about a one-dimensional array, we have discussed that in a one-dimensional array we will have the data type and we will have the array name and we will have the size. The best example is that even we have said that data type is an int. So this array can store the integer constants and you will have the array name A and you have a size 6. So what is the limitation of the array? This array can only stores the integer constant. So that is the definition. Array can only stores the similar data values. Okay. Now if it is a two-dimensional array, you will have a data type and you will have the array name and you will have the two sizes. So one is the number of rows and another one is the number of columns. Okay. Suppose let me give a simple example. You have an integer array, okay, A of 3 of 3. Okay, is it clear? Now when it is a one-dimensional array, we have specified like int A of 3. What is the meaning of this one? You will have a continuous memory location. In these memory locations, you can able to store 3 integer constants. The array index will start from 0, 1 and 2. If this address location is 100 and if you are using a 32-bit compiler, one integer will occupy 4 bytes. So this address will be 104 and this address will be 108. Now if you look at number of columns in this array will depend on the size, which in this case the number of columns are 3 because the array size is 3 and the number of rows only 1 because it is a one-dimensional array. Now coming to the two-dimensional array, you will have n such rows will be there. That n value will be depend on the what is the size the user has specified. Let me repeat again. In a one-dimensional array, you will have a single row and multiple columns will be there. Now when it comes to the two-dimensional array, these rows, n number of rows will be there. Let's take this example. You will have a one row, you will have the second row and you will have the third row because you have specified here is the number of rows as 3 and number of columns as 3. So you will have to represent like this. Now this column index will start from 0, 1, 2. The rows index will start from 0, 1, 2. Now this one will be represented as the row number and the column number. So if you want to index this location, this will be row and column. So you should specify it as row number as 0, column number as 0. Within that, you have to specify the array name also. Okay. Similarly, if you want to point this one, then the index will be row number is 0 and column number is 2. Okay. Now you can ask me what will be the size of this array. Now can you tell me how many number of elements I can store? The number of elements I can store is that you multiply the number of rows into number of columns. Now how many rows are there? 3 rows are there and you have 3 columns, so you can store 9 elements of integer constants only because the data type you have specified is int. So you can store 9 elements. Now you can ask me what will be the size of this array. Now the size of this array will be 9 elements And what is the size of one integer? If you are using a 32-bit compiler, it will be 4 bytes. If you are using a 16-bit compiler, it will be 2 bytes. Let's assume that you are using a 32-bit compiler, then one integer will occupy 4 bytes. 9 such integers will totally occupy 36 bytes. Okay, are you able to understand? If you want to use a size of function, even you can use it. You can use size of operator and you can specify the name of the array A, and within the printf function, if you give it with %d, it will give you the size of the array A. Is it clear? I hope you have understood how we can represent the two-dimensional array and what is the declaration syntax and how these values can be stored. Now, let me discuss about the initialization the elements in the two-dimensional array. We have two methods. All these two methods we will discuss. Now, let me discuss about the method 1. Initializing the values to the two-dimensional array. Let me give here int a of 3, 3. Okay, and open the curly braces 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If you specify, okay, then this is one method. Now you can ask me, sir, if you're specifying like this, what are the values will be stored here? Now the first value will be stored in the rows index 0 and columns index 0. Is it clear? So here the value 1 will be stored. Okay, is it clear? The next element will be stored in the row index 0 and column index 1. Okay, and the next value will be stored here. Then the next value will be stored here. Like this, the values will be stored. Are you able to understand? You have given the number of rows and number of columns as 3 and 3. So the total 9 elements can be stored, and you have given all the 9 elements. Then the values will be stored like this. Now I want to change little bit. Instead of 9 numbers, you have given only 8 numbers. Okay, then what will happen? Lot of students may think that it is an error. Sir, you can able to store 9 elements, but here you have only given 8 elements. The 9th element you did not specify, so it will give an error. Don't think like that. Now, as you have initialized 8 elements, you did not initialize the 9th element. In this one, the value will be depend on based on the data type. As it is an integer, so here the value will be stored as 0. If you specify this array as a float, then the value will be 0.0. If it is a character array, it will be a null. Is it clear? Are you able to understand? Now I have one question. Sir, I have declared an array a of 3 of 3. Okay, without initializing any values or without reading the values from the user, I am directly printing printf %d a of 0 of 1. Now what is the meaning? In the first row, meaning is that 0th index row and second column 1th index, this value I want to print, means this location value. Here it is 2, but if I does not give any value, here it will not be any value, will not be there. That is what you were thinking. But leave about this one, 1, 2, 3. But I want to find the value which is there in the first row and second column, meaning is that 0th row and 0th index row and first index column. This value, as you did not initialize any values, then it will give a garbage value. If you initialized a few of the elements and if you left few elements, then in this case the 0 is there because based on the data type. Okay, are you able to understand? If you just declared the array and you did not specify any value to any of the variable in the array, then if you are trying to print the any one element, then it will give a garbage. But if you initialized few elements or if you stored few elements and if you want to try to access the element which you does not specify, then if it is an int, it will give the value 0. This point, please remember this one. Okay, so I hope you have understood the first method of initializing the elements in an array. Now let me discuss the method 2. Okay, you can declaration part will not change because you are specifying the data type, array name, number of rows and number of columns. Now here what I will do, I will open the curly braces. I will specify 1 comma 2 comma 3. These elements belong to the first row, meaning is the 0th index row. Okay, comma 4 5 6 comma 7 8 9. Here you are specifying the first row elements, second row elements and third row elements. Is it clear? Are you able to understand? If you specify like this, the values will be stored as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is it clear? These are the two methods of initializing the elements into the two-dimensional array. Okay, I hope you have understood these two. If you have any doubts related to these two methods, you can ask me in the comment section. So now let me discuss about how to access the element. Okay, if I want to access the element which is there in the second row, second column. Second row meaning is what? First index row, first index column. Is it clear? Then easily you can access it. Printf %d array name, the row index, here the row index is 1 and column index is 1. Then it will give you the value which is there in the second row, second column. In this case, the value will be printed as 5. Okay. Now, if you want to know the address, then you can write it as printf %u, okay, ampersand of a of row number. In this case, let me give it as the row index as 1 and column index is 1. Then in this case, it will give you the address. Okay. Now you can ask me, sir, what will be the address of this one? Let me just discuss for you. Let's take that as we consider that this address, starting address is 100. Okay. The base address is 100. Then this element, if you are using a 32-bit compiler, one integer will occupy how many bytes? 4 bytes. So if the starting address is 100th byte, then this will be 104, this will be 108, and this will be 112, 116, 120, 124, 128, 132. Is it clear? Now can you ask me, sir, this is a continuous memory location, but you are represented as a matrix. For your understanding, I am representing in a matrix, but the computer will store in the continuous memory location. It will never store like as an array. It will store in a continuous memory location, but for your understanding, I am representing the rows and columns. Is it clear? I hope you have understood. Now, if I want to find the address of second row, second column, meaning is that the row which is having the index 1 and the column which is having the index 1. So this value. So it will give you the address as 116. If you are assuming the starting address is 100. Is it clear? If you are executing in your computer, if it is giving some other value, don't blame me, because it depends on what address location. So I am assuming the starting address location is 100 bytes. Now you can ask me, sir, why you specified the %u? This is for unsigned int. Now, why I am specifying the unsigned int is that always the address will be positive number. So that's why I am specifying the unsigned int here. Is it clear? So now let me discuss a simple program, okay, to read elements from the user in a two-dimensional array and display back to the user, okay, those elements. Let me write the C program so that you will understand the concept in a better way. Okay, to do that one, let me include the header file called stdio.h, which is a standard input output header file. Okay, and you will use a void main, which is a function. Okay, is it clear or not? Now you can declare a two-dimensional array, okay, and you can declare two variables I and j. Okay, is it clear? Now you can ask the user to, oh sorry, you can ask the user to enter 9 elements, okay, or you can enter 9 integer constants. Okay, and then you can write a for loop for I is equal to 0, I less than 3, I plus plus. If it is a one-dimensional array, you know it because you can simply use a one array. But as it is a two-dimensional array, you should use the nested loops. Okay, is it clear? One is for the number of rows and another one is for the number of columns. For j is equal to 0, j less than 3, j plus plus. Okay, then you need to scan it. Scanf percentage d ampersand of a of I of j. You can close the two for loops. Okay, are you able to understand? So this is an outer loop, this is an inner loop. Now let me write the program, then I will discuss the with an example. Okay, for j is equal to, sorry, again you need to print the values. Am I right or wrong? You just read the values. Now I want to display the values to the user. So you can write a printf, the values are \n. Okay, for I is equal to 0, I less than 3, I plus plus. For j is equal to 0, j less than 3, j plus plus. Let me open this curly braces. Okay, is it clear? Printf percentage d \t, I'm giving a tab space, and then I am giving the a of I, a of j. Okay, is it clear? Then I am checking if j is equal to 2. Okay, then what should I do? Printf percentage \n, not percentage \n. I want to give the \. Okay, why I am doing it, I will explain to you. I am closing the inner loop and I am closing the outer loop and I am closing the main function also after writing the getch function. So this is the program will read the values from the user for a two-dimensional array and it will display the same values to the user in an array in a matrix format. Okay, that's why I am using this if condition. Now if you look at here, you have done the declaration. Now how many rows are there? 3 rows are there, 3 columns are there, and you have declared two variables I and j. And then you have asked the user to enter the 9 integers. Now look at this one. This one we can say that this is an outer loop and this is an inner loop. Okay, is it clear? Are you able to understand it or not? Now look at this one. What is the initial I value? I value is 0. Keep it here. Now what is the condition you have? 0 less than 3. So this condition is satisfied. If this condition is satisfied, what are the statements which are there in this for loop? From here to here, because this is the condition, closing curly braces. So between them, what are the statements are there? All the statements you need to execute. Okay, now if you look at here, you have a inner loop. So what is this one? J is equal to 0, you have initialized. Now j less than 3, meaning is that 0 less than 3, this condition is true. Okay, this condition is true, then you will execute the statements which are there in this loop. What are the statements which are there in this loop? Scanf. So you will read a one element, okay, and you will store in the address location of a of 0 0. Am I right? Because the I value is 0 and j value is 0. So in the 0th index row and 0th index column, you will store the first element. Okay, are you able to understand? Then now your question will be, After this one, will the I value will be incremented or j value will be incremented? Still you are in the inner loop, so you will implement or increment the j value. Okay, so j value will be incremented to 1. Still the I value is 0 only. Now look at the condition, 1 is less than 3, so this condition is true. So again you will read the next value and you will store in the address location of a of 0 1. Meaning is that in the first row, second column, in that location you will store the second element. Then you will increment the j value will be updated to 2. Okay, now look at the condition, 2 is less than 3. Again the condition is true. Again you will read an element and you will store in the address location of a of 0 2. Then j value will be incremented, it will be updated to 3. Now look at the condition, 3 is less than 3, no, 3 is equal to 3. This condition is failed. Once this condition is failed, you will come out from the inner loop and you will increment the value which is there in the outer loop, or you will go to the update section of the outer loop. What is the update section of outer loop? I plus plus. So I value is previously 0, now it will be updated to 1. Now lot of students will think that what is the condition? I less than 3, so 1 less than 3, this condition is true. If this condition is true, they will think that j value is still 3, this condition will be again failed. No, again it will go to the initialization part of the inner loop. Again the j value will be updated to 0. Is it clear? Are you able to understand it or not? So this is the way it will work. Okay, so it will read all the 9 elements and store them in the appropriate locations. And the same thing I am doing with this for loop also. Again I have written an outer loop and an inner loop, and I am giving a backslash space. So what will happen is that it will print 1, means the first element, let's take that 1, then it will print 1 and it will give a tab space and it will print the next value, it will give a tab space and it will give the next value. But why I have written this condition? If j is equal to 2, okay, then it will go for the next line. Is it clear? Here what will happen, the j value will be 2. Once the j value will be 2, you will go to the next line, so that it will be printing as a form of a matrix. So I hope you have understood what is a two-dimensional array and how it is different from the one-dimensional array, and what is the declaration, and what are the methods in initializing the elements in a two-dimensional array, and even I have discussed one program related to two-dimensional array. In the next video, I will discuss about matrix addition and matrix multiplication. So I request you to go and watch the next video. Thank you for watching the complete video. Have a nice day.